Hey, what's up YouTube? Chrono here, and welcome back to another PSO2 guide video. So I'll be doing a couple of these videos. They're going to be quick little guides, small tutorials, and some situations kind of like this where I'm showing off individual parts of PSO2. There'll be a lot of new players that are coming around because of the NA beta and the launch. A lot of people that are going to get lost and confused. So these videos are meant to help those players out. This one specifically, not going to be targeted towards veteran players at all. Most of you guys already know the Arks ship very well, and that's kind of what we're going to go over here. But if I miss anything, or if you guys want to add in small little nuances or things I might have not mentioned, feel free to toss those in the comments. But we're going to jump right into this one because I don't want these videos to be too long, and the Arks ship can be kind of big. So when you first log in, you finish your intro and things like that, you're probably going to start out right around this area here. This is the gate area is what they call it. I'm not sure if it's the same name on NA. I'm mostly sure it's the same name on NA. We're actually logged into the JP servers right now because NA is currently down for another few hours until it comes back up for the last portion of the beta. But you'll start out here. Just a couple places to go around and take a look at really quick here. So fairly common. You're going to see your storage and vision phone. They'll always be shown this sort of way. The storage will always have this little green cube. Vision phone will always have this little cube here. Storage is self-explanatory. It's all your different storages. I mean, you can access putting things in your storage from anywhere. However, if you want to take things out of your storage, you have to go to a storage area. So there's that. Vision phone can be used for things like your shop, character search information if you're looking for someone in particular, or crafter search. We're not going to get into crafting in this video because it is a part of PSO2, but it can be done here if you're looking for crafters. Moving on, we're going to talk about the quest counter really quick and these three NPCs because they all are on NA. Their names are a little bit different, but they are all here. So we have the standard quest counter. You accept quests here and get those quests started, and then you'll head off, do your quests, all different types of quests, of course, and you can see those there. The names are a little bit different, but they're mostly the same types of quests, most the same type of grouping. Now, Coffee. Coffee has a different spelling for her name in NA, but it's still Coffee. Coffee still has the same sort of process that she does on JP as she does on NA. It's all unlocks. Coffee will have unlock quests, things that are important to do. So in most cases, if Coffee has a client order for you, you should probably do it. I have one. I think it's like for unlocking. Yeah, it's unlocking the complex PA. So I'm not really concerned about it for this character, but usually if Coffee has a client order, you should be doing it. This last NPC, I'm probably going to do a video maybe about this NPC, but I'm going to do like a short introduction of what they are. This is the equipment admin. They cover collection files. I think they're called collection folders on NA if I remember correctly. But basically they are specific files you pick up and they require you to kill certain enemies. When you kill enough of that enemy and this bar fills up all the way, you will actually get the item that's up here. So people use this as a way to pick up what they call fodder or random weapons to feed into theirs. We'll go over grinding later on and how weapon upgrades work out, but it's pretty common. It's actually very useful. So I would recommend taking a look at this NPC as soon as you possibly can. Even if you can't use the items from her immediately, picking up the collection folder, like it says on NA, picking up the collection folder ahead of time and having it available to you is pretty helpful because you may kill enemies at random that are, you know, what you need for what you're looking for. From there, let's see, who else are we going to talk about? Let's talk about the title counter. Title counter is pretty simple. You walk over here, talk to her. She gives you your titles. If you have any titles, pick up. I have 2, it looks like. You get your rewards. Pretty simple. The treasure shop wasn't available on the NA beta, mainly because the treasure shop is in part Star Gems and other part Meseta. The treasure shop usually has a random rotation of different items. I believe they kept this off of the beta because it's going to be items that you really aren't going to be using very early on. And usually you can buy relatively expensive things like gold tickets. There's always a limit to the individual things you can buy, and you can change the shop listing with SG if it doesn't have what you're looking for. So that's pretty cool. Next, we're going to talk about this little counter over here. Actually pretty important NPCs. The Arks mission NPC is not too important, but what she represents is. Astarte talks about the Arks missions. You'll get introduced to these fairly early on. You probably did on NA as well. Arks missions are very important for your progression in your character. Basically, if you ever wonder what should I be doing, work on your Arks missions and get all those taken care of, get the unlocks done, all that stuff. It's going to also include your daily missions and it includes your weeklies where you'll make a bunch of money. They're basically just objectives and they give you rewards. So do your Arks missions. They'll tell you exactly what to do. In most cases, they'll tell you exactly where to go. You can actually pull up your Arks mission and directly click on the Arks mission itself. And it'll put a marker like on the screen itself. So it's very useful that way. The Arks handbook attendant, pretty useful. It's basically what it says. It's a handbook for the game. It teaches you individual stuff. If you skipped over something, you might need to go back and take a look at again. You'll usually be able to find it here. This NPC also doubles as someone you can turn in your certificates to. They have a 13 and 14 star certificate on JP. I don't believe they have anything on NA at the moment, but there'll be different ways to get a hold of certificates sometimes, and usually the certificate is turned into this NPC here to get like a free weapon or a unit or something along those lines. Moving over, we have another quest counter attendant. She does the exact same thing as the other quest counter attendant does. All the quest counter attendants do the same thing. They have the same quest pool for the most part, if I remember correctly. I don't think there's any quest counter attendant that has a different quest pool. So as long as it's a quest counter attendant, it's going to have the same stuff, has the same functionality. The daily order admin has your daily quests. These will reset every day. They're usually useful for either money or getting your daily boost up. Daily boost, something that you're going to learn, is relatively important. It just increases your chance at making some money, getting drops, or getting extra experience, and that retains throughout the day. So you get 3 of those quests a day, and get daily boost up. Very useful to do. Should always do your dailies. Doesn't take very long to do. The Arks League admin, I'll have to be honest, it's an admin I really didn't use very much, but I guess the rudimentary explanation of what the Arks League really is it's a kind of like a leaderboard in a sense, of different objectives, certain things you do, whether it kill a bunch of monsters, complete a bunch of quests, complete quests in a certain fashion, you know, break boxes and quests, whatever it may be. The way they tally that up and they show it off, this admin is where you pick up all of the benefits from that. So if you win something, you usually get it from this admin itself or sent directly over to your box from your Vision phone. So that's kind of what she does. She tells you about what the Arks League is, what the current league is about, so on and so forth. The PSO2 ES administrator, not going to be in beta, or not going to be in NA yet, I don't think. PSO2 ES is a phone app or is a mobile game for PSO2. So we're probably not going to see this person until they release an NA version of the phone app. Hopefully they do. Moving over from there, we have, and we're going to skip over a couple of these NPCs just because some of them aren't in NA. Others really aren't that important, but a lot of these are just class NPCs and stuff like that. You don't have to worry about those too much. I feel it doesn't really do much. You just talk to her. But the medical center attendant, this is just where you can pick up drinks. Now you can usually do this on the camp ship itself, so not a lot of people come here unless they're like right before a quest. They're out here, they're taking care of some stuff. They can usually, you know, grab their drink out here and then kind of keep going. On the opposite side, we have the class counter. We're going to talk about this gentleman a little bit later in another video, just because that's something else that players usually mess up. And we're going to talk about how not to mess that up and where to look for resources. But that is where you get your skills, change your class, any of that good stuff. And then there's the team counter attendant. They have quests, or in this game they're called client orders. They're individual, like small quests you get from NPCs. These are team oriented ones, so the typical guild system. You'll get them from this attendant specifically here. And that's really all there's going to be in the gate area. There's some stuff back there, but you're really not going to get too much of that right now. So we'll move on to the shop area. How are we doing on time? Not too bad. So the shop area, you can either get to, up there, any of these elevators, the center one or the 2 sides. The center one takes you up top. The 2 sides start at the bottom, but you can always just jump down. Not a really big deal either way. Of course, again, you see there's a Vision phone and ish storage. They're all over the place. On the left, when you first walked in, you have the weapon shop. Shouldn't have to explain to you what a weapon shop is. It's pretty self-explanatory. However, this person here is the techer, or on NA, I believe they're the appraiser. There are drops you can get that are unappraised weapons. I believe it's only weapons. It will never be anything else, but I'm sorry, weapons and eggs. For you summoners out there, you come to this person here to appraise them. You can appraise multiple at a time. You can actually highlight multiple. If you're on controller, I believe it's like one of the triggers. If you're on mouse and keyboard, if you just hold down shift and press down, you can highlight a bunch of items and appraise a bunch of them. They have the high grade identifier. Don't really ever use it unless I know it's something that's going to be good and I want to get good stuff from it because it's more expensive. But That's just a quick appraising sort of explanation. We're not going to go into all the specifics of what the item lab attendant does. This is due to he takes things from you and he laughs at you when he does it. But this is the character you come to for all of your weapon specific or unit specific upgrades, whether that be grinding them, whether that be affixing them, or on NA I believe it's called attribute transfer. But whether that be attaching different attributes or anything along those lines, this is the attendant you come to. People have differing opinions on which one's better, and they actually change depending upon if you're on an odd or an even block. So I believe it's Maria is her name. She is on all the even blocks. Dudu is on all of the odd blocks. And this attendant, I'll be honest, I know nothing about. I don't play Summoner. I leveled Summoner to 75 using a gun slash because I didn't want to mess with the pet system. But this is the pet lab, has to do with Summoner things. So I'm sure a Summoner can give you guys more information about that. You'll find that I don't really know much about Summoner because it's a completely different mechanic that I haven't touched. We'll talk about Zeke in a minute. Let's go to the opposite side. As you guys can also see, it's around Valentine's Day, so the Valentine's Day lobby is up. On the left-hand side, costume shop. Costume shop attendant just sells the base costumes in different colors. They can be color changed, of course. We'll talk about where you can do that later. Unit salesman, pretty simple, basic units. Nothing that's really too fancy there. Disc shop attendant. The disc shop attendant will sell a level 1 version of one PA for every individual type of weapon. So it won't be all of the PAs in the game, but it will be at least one PA for each weapon at level 1. So if you want to try a new weapon, you're fairly early on in the game, you go pick up a weapon from the weapons guy on the on the left over here from the weapon shop, and you don't have a PA for it yet, you can pick up a disc from this guy here, and you'll have a PA at least to use. Item shop attendant, that's self-explanatory. You buy items, usually healing items and things like that. So we're gonna head up to the second floor. On the second floor, we have the beauty salon assistant. It's just so you come to edit either yourself or your God, what are they called? Your auxiliary, or your support partner. If you played JP servers, you go over there to edit the character. You can edit your character pretty regularly. There's like free edits you can do, usually hairstyle. You can change around your outfit, things like that. But like certain specific things, you can also change your eyes and stuff. But certain specific things will require either the cost of AC or the let's see real quick where they are. I'll show you guys really quick. I forget the salon tickets. So there's free salon tickets they'll hand out every once in a while, or you'll get them from certain certain pieces of content. But salon tickets will allow you to change your character specific stuff. Color change passes will allow you to change the colors of certain outfits that can be color changed, or to change change parts on your cast if you're playing a cast. So you have those available to you. Now, I didn't know what to call this shop. For now, I'm just kind of calling it like the exchange shop. But basically, this is where you come to exchange individual pieces of currency, whether that be battle coins from PvP when that gets added, medals from certain types of quests. Now, the medals are kind of weird because they have content that was like outdated in the past, or I think they're not going to be bringing that content over to NA because it is already outdated. And it would just be adding extra stuff in for extra fluff that's not really necessary. Things like challenge mile, it's not really done anymore. So the shop is just here in case people have the currency and they go back and do it and they want to, but it's not really used. This shop over here as well, between the two, really has a bunch of stuff that's not really used. I'm sure there's certain small nuanced things that you can do with it, but it's really not used much. The metal exchange shop is in part newer stuff, but also in part some older things that aren't really used very much. Mostly what you're going to come over here for is the photon drop shop and the X cube shop. Those two shops are pretty useful. The X cube shop, particularly when you're trying to get discs. On NA, you just have the X cube portion of this. You don't have any of the discs portion of this yet. I think that was just left out because they don't want you to be able to purchase a bunch of very, very strong PAs during the beta. So they just left those out for now. I'm sure it's going to be more in there. But these shops are pretty useful. Check them out when you get some time. There might be some items in there that you need. And during any events, it's pretty common, but the event NPC is usually always right in this spot. So if you ever like see an event pop up where there's like a new lobby or something along those lines, and you think there might be an event NPC, just check out here. You should talk to the NPC. They get a couple quests. There might be a limited a limited shop that's usually here and stuff like that. So it's a good thing to check out. And always usually will have the date of when the event will end here too. So you never have to worry about like, oh, how long do I have? You'll know exactly when those events end. And moving, we're going to go to the last shop that's in this area. One that isn't really visited too often, but actually was in the beta. The My Room shop and the Fun shop attendant. Fun is a currency that you get pretty easily, pretty regularly from doing pretty basic stuff. Doing things like liking people's fashion on the fashion, I guess it's called like the lookbook on NA, if I remember correctly, but on the fashion book itself. Rezzing people, taking people's NPCs out whenever you go on a quest. You'll get fun for doing those things and completing quests with them. So it's a currency, you can use it for scratches or you can use it at the Fun shop. So that's kind of cool. The My Room shop is exactly what it says. It's room items and it just costs Meseta. So not too bad. Now this shop is a little weird because I don't think it's really going to be here on NA. I know it's not called the Recycle shop in NA. It's called something else, like an exchange shop or something like that. But you will go to this shop quite often in your menu to get X cubes. Usually when you pick up 10-star and 11-star weapons, when you start getting your decent gear, you're just turning those into cubes unless they're unless they have specific they're called affixes on JP. Unless they have specific attributes you want to make sure you're transferring onto other weapons. You usually just cube those. And you'll find that X cubes are a very valuable resource that you'll end up grinding up and saving tons of. I think I have like 3,000 X cubes on this character right now. But you can take a look through these, see what they have on NA. Basically, it's a place for you to exchange weapons and unwanted items for things that might be a little bit more useful. There's also just a shop for it itself. Now, the Recycle shop, or the shop that might be here, is going to be a bit different, but basically where the shop is at is over here. I'd recommend checking it out and seeing what they have available. Now, in Japan, they have cafes and things like that. This is supposed to be just like the actual official cafe for trading and stuff. Whenever you get... To be honest, I can't say I know exactly what you would get from the official cafe, but it's supposed to be specific to that stuff. So we're probably not going to have this attendant. And the badge shop, again, is going to be a bit weird. This is where they usually post items that were in past events, past badge stuff. Usually it goes all here. So we haven't had that in NA. We're probably not going to see much of this shop either. But just so you know, in case you need to buy something from a badge shop, this is usually where it's going to go. So if there was a specific shop that was a part of, like, say, an event that was over here with that NPC, that event ends and goes away. If they're keeping any of the items from that badge shop, it's usually going to go way over here, down here in this corner. So just keep it in mind. And that's really it for the shop area. There's only one last area we're going to go over. Oh, I wanted to talk about these two because I know people are probably going to ask. There'll be like weird rumors going around about this. On both sides, on this side and the opposite side as well, there are these empty rooms that, for me as a PSU player, it's very reminiscent of like of the main ship where there was like some different rooms or whatever. I think these rooms are kind of left here as like leftover. Maybe they were going to put something in here but never did. Or maybe there was something in here in the past and it just went away. It's kind of just a free little room. So if you're gonna like RP or whatever, hey, there's a free space here. Or just want somewhere to hang out to get away from people. Or meeting people for shady deals, dude. I don't know. Whatever's your fancy. There's one on either side, so in every block there's gonna be one or two of those. So there's that, and then there's one last area, Franca's Cafe. Oh, this video is already long and I don't like it, but it's about 20 minutes, so we'll deal with that. That's not too bad. So Franca's Cafe. Really quick, we're gonna go over what Franca's Cafe is. It's basically, it was introduced into the game when Gathering was introduced. It's basically centered around Gathering. You have an instructor that's going to give you client orders that will teach you about how Gathering works and give you little rewards. You have Yerks that has weekly turn-ins for quite a big chunk of Meseta, and they're mostly free. It's 100 for each, and they're usually like rare items from Gathering, so you can turn them in there once a week and get some money. The real important part of the Gathering area is the skill ring shop. Now, skill rings we'll kind of go over probably in a separate video itself, but basically, they're what they say they are. They're skill rings. You have 2 ring slots on your character, a left ring and a right ring. You make the skill rings here. These can be sold, but if you want to make them yourself, you go out, you gather what you need from them. They'll tell you exactly what you need here. Gather what you need to make the ring. You pay the amount, you pay the items, bam, you get the ring. Pretty simple. There are like combination skill rings and things like that, but I mean, I expect you guys can read. So you'll figure out what those are for. Item shop is exactly what it said beforehand. It's still the same item shop that you would get on the ship, or on the camp ship, or they call it the getaway ship on NA. or the shop area earlier. And then there's, last but not least, there's the culinary shop. The culinary shop is just for food items. You can get certain food buffs that do increased damage sometimes, and then there's other food buffs for specifically for gathering or item find. On the right hand side, there's just the daily order client and the quest counter attendant. So it's same as daily orders on the gate area, same as quest counter on the gate area. Like I said beforehand, these have the exact same functions. One thing to keep in mind is if you are in the cafe, when you search for players nearby, you can only invite players that are in the cafe with you as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Like say you're trying to get together to do a mission, say an urgent quest is coming along. I know it's called emergency quest on JP, but they're called urgent quests on NA. So if an urgent quest comes along, you guys want to get together to run the urgent quest together. Usually what you'll do is, hey, look, we're on, a specific block, say block 39, whatever. Come over to the cafe. So always not a bunch of people around, that way I can find you pretty easily. Come to the cafe, meet up, get a quest going, and you guys can start your quest and head right over to the getaway ship or the camp ship directly from here. So, and that's pretty much it. That is more or less the entire Ark ship for what you're going to deal with. There's a lot of other little places and new stuff. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, you didn't talk about the casino. I didn't talk about the casino because it's not required. You really don't need to go to the casino for anything. However, I also want you guys to experience the casino on your own because it's fun. It's a fun place to be. It's kind of cool looking. And it's literally what it is. It's a casino. It has its own little currency system. You play games, you earn money, more of that currency itself, and you trade those in for cool little items, sometimes specific items that have little buffs, cosmetic items, and things of that sort. So, but yeah, that covers about everything you're going to use the Ark ship for. If you guys have any questions or concerns, anything along those lines, maybe something that I missed and didn't talk about, or you summoners out there can give a bit more information about the summon related stuff that I didn't know, feel free to toss those in the comment below. I'm going to go ahead and move on to making some other things. I think the next video I'm going to work on is probably going to be talking about mags and skill trees, since those are the two that people seem to mess up the most. But yeah, thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.